Hello. Good morning. And welcome to yet another holiday episode of Redstone Lapis Lazuli. Good morning. Good morning, America. Good morning. Merry Christmas. And happy solstice. Winter solstice. That's tomorrow. And then the Great Conjunction happens tomorrow. Which is pretty cool, right? I dig it. I'm into conjunctions. Sure. Parts of speech, astrological stuff, whatever. It's all good. Like, it's all useful. It's all useful for stuff. So yeah. Wow, let me see. How am I gonna do this? Okay, there we go. Indubitably. Alright, here, like, before I get up out of the gate and go astray, let me recap how I came to this great place and put some stuff away real quick. Like, as much as I can. I'm overloaded. I was on a mission doing other stuff. So I forgot to take care of everything. That's what I'm saying. I'm just gonna do this real quick. Okay, everything's put away as much as, okay. So let me show you what I have done in Minecraft. Like, it's not as much as I've done before because, I'm working now and it's like when I had 4 days off, it was great, but I don't. Okay. All right. This is no different. All right. Well, okay, no, this is neat. I dig this part. I dig this part because it's a smaller train station. I dig it so much. Okay, but here's the big deal. We go to Acacia Village. And away we go. Yes. Who built all this stuff? I built all this stuff. Yup, it was I. Hanging my butt over a lava ocean. Through the bowels of hell. To bring you more Minecraft content. No. Ooh, hey, what's up, buddy? What's this? What's this? Why, it's another train station. And that goes to the Acacia Village. But what I notice is that this has gotten a lot bigger. Wow. We have 2 rail lines here. This one goes to the Piglin Tower, which I guess is not completed yet. And this one goes to the Piglin Bridge. So, this whole base is my forward base, right? My goal here is to so the piglins I consider an invasive species. They're invading our world. They're coming in and invading our world through nether portals. And what I think happened was they were repelled and something happened to their civilization. The backlash, I don't know, was it a backlash? I don't know what it was. But it destroyed. It wrecked them. It wrecked their civilization. I don't know if they lost the ability. Ooh, there's another one right there. I don't know if they lost the ability to build, if they just forgot how to do it, or what's going on. But they're bad. They're bad. They're bad. They steal my stuff whenever I come in. They attack me, and they're only interested in gold. That's the only thing they care about, is gold. It's so dumb. And then when they come to the overworld, they turn into zombies, zombie pigmen. So like I want to tear them down, right? They attack me every time. Like the only reason why they don't attack me is because I can trick them with my bling. I wear nice shoes, and they're like, "Ooh, look at the shoes," and they forget about me. So, and here's that other one, right? Here's the pig, the bridge. Ooh, 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 woo, woo, woo. So, hey, where did my cart go? Okay. Let's go check out this Piglin bridge. So I made another base, right? Ha ha ha. From the backside. I backdoored them. That's right. I backdoored them. Ha ha ha. Because look at all their stuff is back here. All their gold. And I came in from the backside. They didn't anticipate that, did you? Did you? And look at so zombie piglin like don't care about me. They don't care about anything. They only care if you hit them. If you hit them, all of them hate you. The regular pigmen hate zombie pigmen too. So anyways, look at this. I think this is cool. It's a big pig face. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the eye, there's the nose, there's the mouth, and there's the two tusks. Like, it's cool. It's cool. I want to go in, but I'm afraid I'm going to get beat up. Like, I don't have a whole lot of armor on me. Oh, look, it's not so big. Okay. And then when you go way over there, that's the, when you go way over there, that's the other piglin thing. All right, well, hey, I have to check this place out. I haven't checked it out. It goes down pretty deep. But I'll tell you what, I like all this blackstone. Yay! Free blackstone for me. Yeah, this place is scary. And it's probably not suitable for my episode today. And it's funny, they value gold. I have so much gold I don't care. How did I get all my gold? By killing pigmen. Zombie pigmen. Yeah, I kill zombie pigmen. I don't kill. I mean, I do kill regular pigmen. I'm gonna tear down their structures and steal all their treasure, but I don't actively go and try to kill them. Zombie pigmen, yeah, I kill all their stuff. Okay, what's the other thing I wanted to show you? I got netherite gear, so that's the other thing. All right, so I love that train station. I love these stations. I look at that poor zombie pigman. Ha 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 ha. Poor guy. All right, so moving through the bowels of the nether, we can figure out why this place is super dangerous. Like, I can't wait till they upgrade rails and mine carts, because I think they haven't touched minecarts forever. And right now, it's almost like they're not that useful. Like, once you have elytra wings, why do a minecart? Oh, look at my train station. All right. So yes, what a beautiful train station. I've only got a few of the stations done. But if you want to check it out. Yo, Jesse, what's up? Hey, dude. I just noticed the chat there. Yo, that's awesome. That's great. Hey, Jesse, you want to talk about stuff? Like, I've got so much material right now. I'm like showing off the Minecraft stuff right now. Because that's kind of how I like warm myself up into like talking. Like, but I have a ridiculous amount of material that I want to cover today. And if you're there, you can help like flesh it out for me. If you're watching and stuff. But hey, Merry Christmas. You know, like happy. All right, so I showed you my real quick Minecraft stuff. That was cool. Really, what took me all the time was to get all this gear. This gear took me days. Oh my god! And then I lost all my stuff because I died. My sword called Painless. Get it? Because it's so sharp. Axe of Science. Because it has Smite 5, which is very useful against undead. Well, undead is like a woo-woo thing. So like science. It's an axe and it crushes things. Boom. Science. You're a zombie? Meet science. This is called physics. That's funny. Okay. All right. So, like, this is all ha-ha funny, right? But the reason why I do Minecraft is because it's a way to get into people's brains through like a sideways mechanism. In a way that they wouldn't like, because normally they'd be like, oh, resist if you present ideas straight at them. They'll just like boom, but if you come at them from the side, they'll be like, oh. And I'll give you an example of this. For years I played the game called World of Warcraft. It's like oh, you're at work. Okay. I used to play this game called World of Warcraft. That's a fantasy like setting, but the way they divide the game, and it took me years to see it. It took me years to consciously recognize it. Unconsciously, I recognized it, but consciously, I didn't see it. They divide the world into two factions. There's one faction called the Orcs from another world, and they have African tropes. They're covered. They're orcs. They're green skin from another planet. They're brutish, and they're covered in African tropes, like the horns, the skins, the honor, the rage, the battle, the clans, like the whole thing, right? African tropes. And then on the other side, you have the humans, and they're just humans, and they're covered in European tropes. And they're the ones being invaded. So, like, I just didn't get it. Okay, and then the orcs, who are the aliens, who are the non-humans, who are covered in African tropes, they are allied. They have their group. Who are they allied with? They're allied with other like non-human creatures. They're allied with this group called the trolls. The trolls, right? They're disfigured, right? They're not human, and they are covered in Mesoamerican tropes. And then they're also allied with this group called the Tauren, who are a bunch of bulls. They're bull men. They're not humans. They're bull men. And they are covered in Native American tropes. Oh my god! I can't believe it. Like, ridiculous, overt racism, saying that European is human and things not European are alien. And I didn't notice this for years. I just played the game, right? Thinking like, oh, it's fun. Dude, it was so bad. Why did I start telling you all that? Okay, yeah, because sideways. So it was bad, right? Okay, but at one point, I started to play not the human European trope side. I started playing the other side, the horde, the African trope side. I tried just to see what the story was like, and the story from that side is really interesting. I mean, yeah, you still have a bunch of like green-skinned alien creatures with all the non-European tropes on them, but their story is interesting, and like it makes you want to cheer on like the non-humans. It's like, yeah, keep going, yeah, for like I recognize that you had your homeworld destroyed, and then I recognize that malevolent forces kidnapped you from your homeworld and dumped you into an alien world where you didn't know anything, and it got to the point where you couldn't even talk to your fellow orc, your fellow person. So like, and then you were abandoned, and then you were left there on an alien world where everything was hostile to you, and so you had to band together, come make a common language or common culture, and carve out your place in a hostile environment to thrive. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll jump into that, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm totally into that. I'll be like, yeah, for the horde, that's cool, I'll do that. And then so I was totally into it. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I love doing this. This is great. I totally dig this. And then that's when it flipped in my head. That's when the key flipped. That's when I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is all overtly racist. This is overtly the story of African Americans. This is the story of the orcs is basically the story of the African Americans. They were stolen from their homeland, taken to a foreign land where they didn't know anything, and forced to fight for their freedom. It's the same exact story, the same thing. And so coming at it from that side, sideways, all of a sudden I had an amazing new appreciation for Black American culture. Like I mean, I never was like anti-Black American culture, but I don't know if I appreciated it as much as I should have. And that's because of like my history, my training. Like I had a very European-centric education. So yeah, speaking of which, like I feel kind of ignorant, right? I feel ignorant about stuff because here I am waxing romantic and like, oh, lovey-dovey about the ancient Greeks. I'm like, oh, the ancient Greeks, they did so much for the West. Dude, just over there, just over there, just look over there, in Babylon. Babylonia, dude, Babylon. Are you dumb? Yeah, I totally forgot Babylon. I totally forgot it. I mean, yeah, because they all did their stuff way before the ancient Greeks. It's funny that I'm all like, oh yeah, ancient Greeks, dude, Babylonia, or Babylon. Those guys were doing it way before the Greeks. But, you know, that's the question. Did they influence the Greeks? Like, there had to be a little bit of influence. I don't know. Space was different back then. Space, like, was huge. Space was giant. Like, the only way to get around is either by walking or on a horse. That's it. Or on a boat once you got boats. But even then, that was dangerous. And you had to be rich. So space, yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to clarify that point of me being ignorant. Here, I have another point of me being ignorant. So, like, I don't know if you can watch, but I'm going to bust some stuff up here. So, when this whole Trump-Russia thing first happened, I thought I was kind of crazy. And I was following it on my own. This was way back in, like, 2017. And it was a lot of work. It was making me real tired. And plus, everyone thought I was crazy. I had no one to talk to because, like, who am I going to talk to? I like 2017, and I'm going to say, oh yeah, Donald Trump is working with the Russians to worked with the Russians to overthrow the election and is working to overthrow our government. Like, who's going to believe me in 2017? Nobody. Except for one person, Seth Abramson. When I found Seth Abramson, I was like, oh, I'm not crazy. And that was fantastic. So I really appreciate Seth Abramson. He wrote 3 books on this topic already. So, you know, and I haven't even read all 3 of them. I read like part of one of them. All right, but here's one thing I've been saying that's wrong. I have been saying that the FBI started their investigation in 2016 when George Papadopoulos drunkenly told the Australian ambassador that he had access to Hillary's emails through Russian connections. And then the Australian ambassador told the American FBI, who then started the investigation. But that is incorrect. That is not when it first started. Seth Abramson let me know. He didn't let me know, but he let everyone know. Look at here. If you want to know how ignorant about the Russia investigation Trump, his sycophants, and all the supporters are, look no further than them believing that the Russia investigation began with George Papadopoulos in 2016, like I thought. When everyone else has known for years it began in 2015. I'm like, what, Seth? What? What are you telling me, Seth? If I read your book, maybe I'd know this. All right, but then look, then he brings receipts, right? He doesn't just say it, he brings receipts. Look at this. This is Thursday, the 13th of April, 2017. British spies were first to spot Trump's team's links with Russia. I think this is The Guardian. I'm not sure. But this is a story. Oh, I don't have the guy's name on here. Who wrote this? Oh yeah, right there. Luke Harding, Stephanie Kirchgasser, and Nick Hopkins. Okay, so it says, British spy agencies played a crucial role in alerting their counterparts in Washington to contacts between members of Donald Trump's campaign team and Russian intelligence operatives, The Guardian has been told. In 2017, GCHQ first became aware in late 2015 of suspicious interactions between figures connected to Trump and known or suspected Russian agents, a source close to UK intelligence said. This intelligence was passed to the US as part of a routine exchange of information, they added. Over the next 6 months until summer of 2016, a number of Western agencies shared further information on contacts between Trump's inner circle and Russians, sources said. So they were doing this since 2015. 2015. Here, Seth Abramson, dog, he let me know. All right. The European countries that passed on electronic intelligence, known as SIGINT, included Germany, Estonia, Poland, Australia, a member of the Five Eyes spying alliance that also includes the US, UK, Canada, and New Zealand, also relayed material, one source said. Another source suggested the Dutch and the French spy agency, the General Directorate for External Security, or DGSE, were contributors. It is understood that GCHQ was at no point carrying out a targeted operation against Trump or his team, or proactively seeking information. The alleged conversations were picked up by chance as part of a routine surveillance of Russian intelligence assets. So they were watching the Russians when they heard the Russians talking to Trump. And so the Europeans were like, oh, look at this. The Russians are talking to Trump. We should let the Americans know. Back in 2015. Yeah. So this has been going on for a while. Seth Abramson let me know that it wasn't 2016, it was 2015 that the Europeans let us know. Dude, allies, I'm telling you, allies. The ancient Greeks knew it was all about allies. It's all about allies. You have to be diplomatic because no nation state by itself is strong enough. Even the United States, which is a conglomerate of nation states bound together, even that conglomeration is not powerful enough to rule the entire world. Even the United States needs allies. You have to nurture your allies, your friends, your allies. Your allies will help you. Look at here. In 2015, the Europeans let us know that Donald Trump was conspiring with the Russians. But look, not a single word of criticism for Putin. Not a single word of criticism for Russia's cyber war against our nation's government systems. He betrayed America and our 17 intel agencies in Helsinki. He's betrayed America ever since. That's right. Donald Trump and Putin are buddies against the United States. So, when you hear all these Republicans talk about reconciliation and healing, nah. We're getting some consequences. People are going to jail. A lot of people are going to jail. Rich people are going to jail. Powerful people are going to jail. People are going to jail. You know, you don't make friends with cancer. You cut it out and you kill it. So it's like, well, how can you say that I mean, what am I suggesting? What am I getting at? The same thing I've been saying since the beginning of this series. Right? There are at least two forces at work in the United States. One force is the Confederacy, the spirit of the Confederacy, which was not defeated back in the Civil War in the 1800s. It was not defeated. It was defeated militarily, and its territory was occupied, but its spirit was not crushed. Andrew Johnson, the president who replaced Lincoln, saved the Confederacy, saved the spirit of the Confederacy by ensuring that its ruling class remained intact and that its members, its elite, were able to re-enter the federal government. And so the spirit of the Confederacy became codified as Jim Crow laws. And it's even codified in our Constitution that the Confederacy was never defeated because it's still legal to enslave a human. Like, how can you do that? It's still legal to enslave a human. So all the Confederacy does now is uses the justice system to incarcerate Black Americans and then enslaves them. It's just an extra hoop. Yeah, it's dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. So, but you got to be clear-eyed about these things, right? You got to be able to see what's going on, because for years they have used symbols and words to create a false world around people, to make them believe that there's no class and that race is finished and that it's all hunky-dory now. When the truth is that no, race and class are still very, very, very important in our country. like the most important thing in our country. Okay, so let me move on. What was else I was going to point to? Okay, for an example, so the difference between so there's one side, the Confederacy, that wants to reinstate fascism in the United States, ethno-fascism, and then there's the other side of the United States, which is made up of the Union. These are Americans who believe in the ideals of the United States: truth, justice, and liberty. That it doesn't matter about the color of your skin, or how you love, or what pronouns you use. None of that matters. What matters is the content of your character, the content of your spirit, of your heart, and how you express the ideals of America. So for the neo-Confederates, for the fascists, they don't give an F about the ideals of America, because they're only concerned with power, and they already have this idea in their head about the structure they want, which is a pyramid. So they don't want your ideas, they don't want your expression, they want your conformity, and they want you to support the power structure, which they're the opposite of Americans. Americans are all about liberty and justice. The tension between liberty and justice, because you cannot have one without the other. So Americans want to maintain and expand democracy and further dilute power into the people and wealth. I mean, that's the other key point that separates the two groups. Right? The Unionists want to dilute power and wealth into the people. The fascists, the Confederates, want to concentrate power and wealth into the hands of the elite. So they're pulling in two opposite directions. One group wants to dilute power and wealth, and the other group wants to concentrate power and wealth. You don't even need to use labels. You just got to look at power, dynamics, and look at the dynamics. So here, let's give an example of that. For an example, here, Yashar Ali giving $10,000 to every adult in the United States would cost around $2.5 trillion. It wouldn't be enough for some people to recover, but it would be an incredible stress reliever for many families and a boost to the economy. American families are taking on the debt instead, which is stupid, right? So to give every adult American $10,000 would cost $2.5 trillion. So remember, in 27, oh wait, here, let me get me out of the way. In 2017, Donald Trump signed his signature 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act into law. Proponents of the law, including the Trump administration, promised that it would add $1.8 trillion in new revenue. That would more than pay for the $1.5 trillion cost of the tax cuts. So Donald Trump passed a tax cut for $1.5 trillion. Who did that help? The rich. He passed a tax cut for the richest Americans that cost $1.5 trillion. He already did this. Under current law, the tax cuts will expire in 2025. They remain permanent for corporations. So he cut taxes permanently for corporations, for the rich, the Republicans. Republicans permanently cut taxes for corporations to put the debt onto Americans. Okay, Congress could choose to make the individual cuts permanent before they expire. If that happens, the cost of the tax cuts would rise to 2.3 trillion instead of 1.5 trillion over the next 10 years. A separate analysis found that while the tax cut would result in increased economic growth, all the revenue from this growth would go toward paying for the cut. The cost is too high for the tax cuts to pay for themselves. Instead, the deficit and debt would continue to grow, which is what happens, right? So they already gave a tax cut to the richest Americans that cost almost as much as giving all the Americans $10,000. So CBO report commissioned by Bernie Sanders finds wealthy tax cheats the primary beneficiaries of IRS budget cuts. Let me hide me for a second. Oh, there you go. Today, at the request of Senate Budget Committee ranking member Bernie Sanders, the Congressional Budget Office issued a report. Okay, examining the causes of hundreds of billions of dollars in annual tax avoidance and evasion, facilitated by budget cuts to the Internal Revenue Service. Found that they owed $381 billion. And found that 70% of the gap is explained by the underpayment of the top 1%. The richest 1% is responsible for 70% of all unpaid taxes. So, the rich are already not paying their taxes. And then, like, this is the way the taxes used to be in the 1950s. Like, you see, the richest, the top 400, paid, 70% in taxes. But under the Donald Trump tax cut, under Donald Trump, the Republicans in 2017, when they passed it, the richest people pay lower taxes than the poorest people. You see that? You see that? So the Republicans have already given the richest people trillions of dollars. They could have, instead of giving the richest people trillions of dollars, they could have given every adult American $10,000. Think about how that could change your life. All I have to do is drive down to Market and Lancaster to the bridge, the I-5 overpass, and I can see the encampment under there. If those people had $10,000, that would absolutely alter their lives. I mean, absolutely alter their lives. They're homeless. They're living under a bridge. Like last night, we had a massive storm, like a big deluge of rain came down. Like, I'm lucky I have power. Like, $10,000 would stop homeless people from being homeless, from sleeping in tents under a bridge during a rainstorm in like 50-degree weather. Instead, Republicans spent that trillions of dollars on the richest 400 Americans who already have billions of dollars, who are not sleeping under bridges. They already did it, and they won't do it now. They won't do it now for Americans who need it. Tax cuts for the rich breed inequality without providing much of a boon to anyone else, according to a study of the advanced world that could add to the case for wealthy to bear more of the cost of coronavirus pandemic. The paper by David Hope of the London School of Economics and Julian Limburg of King's College, London, found that such measures over the last 50 years only really benefited the individuals who were directly affected and did little to promote jobs or growth. So if you're getting, like, if they cut taxes for the rich, the only people who benefited were the rich. That's what they said. Policymakers shouldn't worry that raising taxes on the rich to fund the financial costs of the pandemic will harm their economies, Hope said in an interview. our research suggests that policies don't deliver the sort of trickle-down effects that proponents have claimed. We have already taken on trillions of dollars of debt to give a tax cut to the richest people that we already know is not going to help anyone other than the richest people. Since we were willing to give a tax cut to the richest people that doesn't benefit the rest of the economy, it is prudent to give the same cost but directly to the people of America, which we know will directly benefit the people of America. But for some reason, it's being blocked. Why is it being blocked? Why is it being blocked? Let's see. Why? There's this guy senator named Ron Johnson. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going too far. Okay. I don't want to go too far. So wait a minute. Okay, so I'm talking about what I've been talking about so far is this thing called trickle-down effect, right? In the 1980s, Ronald Reagan is the guy who promoted this trickle-down economics, the stupid trickle-down economics. And I don't know, were the people in the 1980s stupid? They couldn't be any stupider than they are now, because I mean, we still have people promoting trickle-down economics, and we've had 50 years of data to prove them wrong. But look at what Ronald Reagan, look how he sold trickle-down economics, right? This is Ronald Reagan, right? He's president of the United States back in the 80s, right? This is what he sold the American people. This is the graph he used to sell the American people. He said your taxes in 1982, and the average family income in 1982, I guess, is $20,000. Right? On his graph, he has one side that says money, and on the other side, it says nothing. I guess it's your taxes. So one side is money, and the other side is your taxes. And then he has like these lines, right? This dotted line and then this solid line. And the dotted line, he writes their bill and it goes up. And the solid line is our bill and it goes down. And I'm like, so he's trying to sell his plan based on this graph. And people bought it. I'm like, wait a minute, but how can, like, what is this even saying? How do you know any of this is true? Like, where are you getting this information from? Like, I have to enhance it. See, I have this like you don't understand, right? I'm in the year 2020 now, and I was born back in the day. I was alive when this guy did this thing. So I have this amazing ability to do this thing called enhance. I can enhance it. Here, let me use my computer skills to enhance it. Wait. Right? Abracadabra, enhance. I found it. There's the source. There's the source. I found his source. I don't know, man. I don't know. So in the 1980s, this is when Ronald Reagan said, hey, let's give a tax cut to the rich. And what happened is that the rich got richer, but your wages, nothing happened. Nothing happened. You're making $2 more an hour. That's it. Hardly budged. But the rich got a lot richer. So remember, Russia just hacked us big time. The way they hacked us is they hacked over into Microsoft, and then they used Microsoft to hack into all the other government agencies. Because all the government agencies use Microsoft. Our networks are screwed. They are everywhere. The Russians have penetrated all our stuff. We're gonna have to burn down our entire computer networks and rebuild them. So since we're gonna have to do that, I propose leaving Microsoft, leaving proprietary networks, and building your own networks using open source software, Linux, and having your own in-house computer IT team, writing software, and roll your own. I think you should roll your own operating system, your own everything. Because if your security is only as good as a private company, that's not so good. Like, you're the government. You can't rely on a private company for security. That's dumb. Private companies are no matches. Private companies are no match for nation states. You can't do that. You can't do that. The United States government needs to hire its own IT programmers and run open source software and write their own programs, because then the exploits become a lot more difficult. I'm sorry, Microsoft is yeah, no. Yeah, you have, because the whole thing's gonna have to get burned down. The Russians compromised everything. They compromised everything. They got into everything. Oh God, you gotta do it. Okay. And here's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is saying that it's fake news. Donald Trump says the cyber hack is far greater in the fake news media than in actuality. I have been fully briefed and everything is well under control. Russia, Russia, Russia is the priority chant when anything happens, because lamestream is, for financial reasons, petrified of discussing the possibility that it may be China. It may be. They could also have been hit on our ridiculous voting machines during the election, which is now obvious that I won big, making it an even more corrupted embarrassment for the USA. So in other words, Donald Trump is saying, no, it couldn't be Russia. Other Americans are wrong. Instead, the election's a fraud and I won. I'm staging a coup. Like that's what Donald Trump does. That's all he's saying, is he's staging a coup over and over and over again. So yeah, so even now, at this time, he's protecting Russia. Like, it's insane. Okay, but you know this, right? In 2018, 8 Republican senators spent the 4th of July in Moscow. Right? For real, look at, there's your 8 senators. And look at, who's that guy? That guy's Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson. In the 4th of July in Moscow. Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson was the guy who voted against the stimulus going out. He blocked the stimulus bill from going out. Ron Johnson. And look who he's with. This guy right here. Who's this guy right there? Look, who's that? That guy is Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. And there's Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. And that's Donald Trump in the Oval Office. This is the day after Donald Trump fired James Comey. And then he invited these Russians into the White House and told them, don't worry about, I fired the head of the FBI, so they'll take the pressure off of Russia now. Don't worry. That's what he said. That's what he said. That's what he told them. That's Donald Trump being buddy-buddy with enemies of the United States, right? I can't go back and forth. All right. That's what that is. Kremlin outfoxes White House over photos of Trump meeting with Russians. can't. I don't. It sucks. I can't like. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. The Kremlin outmaneuvered the White House over the dissemination of photos of a rare Oval Office meeting between President Trump and top Russian diplomats. Although the U.S. media was barred from Wednesday's meeting, the Russian-owned TASS news agency began circulating more than a dozen photos showing a beaming Trump shaking hands with visiting Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. The official White House photographer did not release any photos, leaving the Russians and the Russian Foreign Ministry as the lone source for the images. After U.S. reporters began inquiring about the source of the photos, the White House responded by saying, "On background, our official photographer and their official photographer were present. That's it." So, like, they didn't take pictures or anything. So, there's Donald Trump with a Russian picture shaking hands with the Russian ambassador the day after he fired the FBI agent that was investigating the Russians. So look at this guy. Remember this guy, Sergei Kislyak. And remember, Trump told Comey to leave Mike Flynn alone. Comey said no. So Comey fired Mike Flynn, or fired James Comey. James Comey and this guy here were buddies. Okay. Come on. I know I can do it. I just gotta figure out what zoom. There we go. Okay. The issue is particularly sensitive because of the presence at the meeting of Kislyak, who has been at the center of several controversies involving administration officials, including now fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. The Russian embassy even tweeted a photograph of Trump smiling broadly as he put his arms around the diplomat while shaking his hand in the Oval Office. Flynn was fired in February for lying to Vice President Mike Pence by denying that he had discussed the issues of U.S. sanctions with Kislyak. Sessions recused himself from any investigation involving the Trump administration and Russia after acknowledging he failed to tell senators during his confirmation hearing that he previously met with the same guy, Kislyak. In addition, Kislyak was brought into the Trump Tower in New York in December, out of sight of reporters, for a meeting with Flynn and Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law. The secrets Flynn was desperate to conceal. What was Flynn desperate to conceal? During the 2016 election, the Obama administration declined to hold Russia to account for its intervention. That's a story in itself. On December 29, 2016, however, the Obama administration did at last announce sanctions on Russia. The imminence of these sanctions triggered a flurry of communications between the Russian government and the Trump campaign. The Russian ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak, that one guy, reached out. So who's Kislyak? Where is he? He's that guy. That is Kislyak. All right. Okay. So that's the guy I'm talking about. That guy, he met with everybody. So let me get rid of this one. Okay, back to this. So what happened was Obama knew about the Russian hacking, and then Obama fired like 100 Russians. I kicked out about 100 Russians out of the United States. And when Obama did that, there was a whole bunch of communication between the Trump campaign, Mike Flynn, and the Russians after the Obama administration kicked out 100 people. So on December 30th, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Russia would not respond to the sanctions. That same day, Trump tweeted his thanks. Great move on the delay by Vladimir Putin. I always knew he was very smart. Another round of calls followed between Flynn and Kislyak. What happened here? At first, Trump's team denied that anything untoward had happened. On January 15th, 2017, Vice President-elect Mike Pence appeared on CBS's Face the Nation to assure the country that Flynn and Kislyak had not discussed the Obama sanctions. He had sent a text to the Russian ambassador to express not only Christmas wishes, but sympathy for the loss of life in the airplane crash that took place, Pence said, referring to a December 25th, 2016 accident that had killed 92 people. It was strictly coincidental that they had a conversation. They did not discuss anything having to do with the United States' decision to expel diplomats or impose censure against Russians. That's what Mike Pence said on TV to Americans. And that's what Michael Flynn told the FBI. Michael Flynn said, nope, I never talked to Sergei Kislyak about any of that stuff. Nope. That's why Michael Flynn got pled guilty, because he lied. He said he never did, right? But here's the transcript of their phone call. Here's their phone call, right? Here's their phone call they had. Here's Flynn. Yeah, I understand. Okay, listen, a couple things. Number one, what I would ask you guys to do, and make sure that you convey this, okay? Do not allow this administration, the Obama administration, to box us, the Trump administration, in right now, okay? Don't let Obama box us in by kicking out these 100 Russians. That's what Flynn is telling Kislyak. They're talking about the sanctions. Flynn said he did not talk about the sanctions. This is Flynn talking about the sanctions. Kislyak, we have conveyed it, and yeah, it's very specifically and transparently open. Flynn. So you know, depending on what actions they take over this current issue of the cyber stuff, you know, where they're looking like they're gonna dismiss some number of Russians out of the country. I understand all that, and I understand that you know, the information that they have and all that. But what I would ask Russia to do is to not if anything, because I know you have to have some sort of action to not only make it reciprocal, make it reciprocal. Don't go any further than you have to, because I don't want us to get into something that has to escalate on a tit for tat. You follow me, Ambassador? Kislyak, I understand what you're saying, but you know, you might appreciate the sentiments. They are raging now in Moscow. You know, that's the ambassador saying that. Oh, Moscow's pissed that Obama kicked out a bunch of Russians. Moscow's angry about it. Oh, man, come on. I just want to like go to the next one. There we go. Flynn, and please make sure that it's the idea is if you have to do something on a reciprocal basis, meaning, you know, on a sort of an even basis. Then that is a good message, and then we'll understand that message. Yeah. And then we know that we're not going to escalate this thing because if we send out 30 guys and you send out 60, you know, or you shut down every embassy, I mean, we have to get this to let's keep this at a level that's even keeled, okay? Is even keeled. And then what we can do is when we come in, we can then have a better conversation about where we're gonna go regarding this regarding our relationship. And also, basically, we have to take these enemies on that we have. Now, the enemies he's talking about are the enemies of the Russia and the Trump administration, which is the Obama administration. And we definitely have a common enemy. You have a problem with it. We have a problem with it in this country. And we definitely have a problem with it in the Middle East. So Michael Flynn is telling the Russians, like, okay, Obama is gonna kick out a bunch of people, but don't respond big time. Because if you respond big time, then we kind of have to do the same thing. If you don't respond big time, then the Trump administration can have a good relationship with the Russians. So he's like, we need you to send us a signal that you understand. So Michael Flynn is telling the Russian ambassador Kislyak that we need the Russians, Putin, not to respond to Trump, to Obama's sanctions, because if he does, then Trump will be forced to respond. But if he doesn't, that sends a good message to Trump that they're on the same page against Obama. Come on, dude. Okay, and then what happens? Kislyak says, I just want to tell you that our conversation was also taken into account in Moscow, and good. Your proposal is that we need to act with cold heads. Is exactly what is invested in the decision. Good. And I want to tell you that we found that these actions have targeted not only against Russia, but also against the president-elect. So what Kislyak is saying is that the Obama kicking out 100 Russians because Russia attacked the American elections, Kislyak is saying, oh, this is an action not only against the Russians, but also against Trump. Obama's acting against Trump too. He's making up the narrative. You see what I'm saying? That's what he's doing. He's making up the narrative. He's like, right, buddy? He's attacking you too, right, buddy? And Flynn's like, yeah. And Kislyak is like, and with all our rights to respond, we have decided not to act now because people are dissatisfied with the loss of elections. So he's trying to say, it's because the Democrats are just being sore losers. That's why. He's making up he's creating the narrative. Do you see what's going on? They're getting on the same page is what's happening. And they're dissatisfied with the loss of elections. And it's very deplorable. So I just wanted to let you know that our conversation was taken with weight. So in other words, he's saying, okay, I understand. Michael Flynn wants the Russians not to respond to Obama because there'll be better relations with Trump. And And Kislyak is saying, okay, Moscow heard you and we're on the same page. And Flynn says, good, good. And Kislyak says, yeah, in 2 weeks, we are hoping we can start working better. So when Trump takes over, he says, well, we can start working better. So this is the conversation that Mike Flynn said to the FBI, no, I didn't have. And then the FBI showed him, and he's like, yep, okay, I'm guilty. And then Billy Barr came in and said, we're taking this away. And then Mike and Flynn was saying, oh, yeah, I'm not guilty. And then Donald Trump said, well, I'm pardoning you. Are you understanding like how bad this is? Oh, where was I? I was going through the text messages. Okay, yeah, so I'm on this one now. Okay, so why is Michael Flynn important? Why is the fact that he's talking to all these dictator governments behind the backs, why is that important? Why is Michael Flynn such a traitor? Well, remember what Michael Flynn was doing. Another reason why he's in trouble is because Michael Flynn was working for the Turkish government. What was Michael Flynn doing with the Turkish government? Well, the Turks wanted to get rid of the Kurds. That's one thing. The other thing is that Erdogan wanted to get his hands on a person named Gulen. So Special Counsel Robert Mueller disclosed more details Tuesday of Michael Flynn's effort to cover up the extent of his ties to the government of Turkey. Let's see. A key component of Flynn's work for Turkey involved the government's efforts to remove from the U.S. a Turkish cleric living in Pennsylvania. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accuses the cleric Fethullah Gulen of orchestrating a failed coup against him in July 2016, which is bullshit. Flynn began working for Turkey about a month later. Federal prosecutors said in court filing, which refers to Gulen, though not by his name, that Flynn's decision not to disclose that he was aiding the Turkish government impeded the ability of the public to learn about the Republic of Turkey's efforts to influence public opinion about the failed coup, including its efforts to effectuate the removal of a person legally residing in the United States. Why would a dictatorship want to legally remove a person legally residing in the United States? Why would they want to do that? Well, you remember this guy? That guy is Mohammed bin Salman. And he's buddy with this guy. Remember this guy? That guy is Jared Kushner. So Jared Kushner, Donald Trump wanted Jared Kushner to have top secret clearance to get information to all the secrets of the United States. But going through the clearance process, Jared Kushner could not get clearance. He could not get clean enough to have access to American secrets. So Donald Trump said, well then forget all those things. I'm going to give him top secret clearance anyways. So that's what Donald Trump did. So Jared Kushner got top secret clearance to American secrets. Jared Kushner is an idiot. He's stupid. He's dumb. He's dumb. And he got played by Mohammed bin Salman. Mohammed bin Salman pumped up this kid's ego a bunch, and then manipulated this doofus into looking through American secrets and giving them away for free to this dictator. So man, I'm so angry at this thing. I should use another program. Oh yeah, I can, huh? Why don't I do that? I know this is dense, right? But like, oh crap, it's got to be done. Okay, given Mr. Kushner's political inexperience, the private exchanges can make him susceptible to Saudi manipulation, said 3 former senior American officials. In an effort to tighten practices at the White House, a new chief of staff tried to reimpose long-standing procedures stipulating that National Security Council staff members should participate in all calls with foreign leaders. But even with these restrictions in place, Mr. Kushner and Prince Mohammed kept chatting, according to 3 former White House officials and 2 others briefed by the Saudi royal court. In fact, they said, the 2 men were on a first-name basis, calling each other Jared and Mohammed in text messages and phone calls. All right. So what happened was this guy ended up murdering. They used American intelligence to locate a guy named Jamal Khashoggi, and they used him. They got American intelligence out of Jared Kushner to find a journalist named Jamal Khashoggi that they didn't like because he told the truth, and then they tricked him into going into the Saudi consulate in Turkey, and then they murdered him, and then they covered it up. After they murdered him, their government, Saudi government, put out this graphic. They put out this graphic. Are they joking? Are they joking? Are they stupid? Are they dumb? Jamal Khashoggi is a murderer. The House of Saud needs to fall down. The House of Saud needs to crumble. Free the people of Saudi Arabia. Of Arabia. It's not Saudi Arabia, it's Arabia. It's not House of Saud. House of Saud are a bunch of murderers. They can't abide by the truth. What kind of house doesn't abide by the truth? The truth is an aspect of God, and House of Saud is opposed to God. Is that what you're telling me, House of Saud? Yeah, Mohammed bin Salman is a murderer. He cannot abide by the truth, and he tries to cover it up. He murdered Jamal Khashoggi. He's a murderer. And Mike Flynn wanted to do the same thing to that Turkish guy that's living in the United States. He wanted to do the same thing. Right, these guys are enemies of the United States. Michael Flynn is a traitor. He's a Confederate. He's an enemy of the United States. Donald Trump is an enemy of the United States. They work with the enemies of the United States to hurt the United States. Here's Mike Flynn again. Almost exactly 4 years ago, this man called up Russia and made several asks that put him, Flynn, and the incoming president on the same side as Russia against the United States. We just went over him, right? Mike Flynn, traitor. He also said expelling one suspected spy would be appropriate response to interfering in democracy. So Michael Flynn is a liar. Well, remember, in his transcript, he wanted to keep it even. So here's Michael Flynn on Newsmax saying that Donald Trump could order military capabilities to swing states and rerun an election in each of those states. People out there talk about martial law like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 times. Like, you think that's like crazy. Like, there's no way he would actually say that. Like, go on the air and admit to sedition? You think he would go on the air and admit to trying to overthrow the government? That's crazy.
Also he could order within the swing states, if he wanted to, he could take military capabilities and he could place them in those states and basically rerun an election in each of those states. I mean, it's not.
So he's like, I could go to the state, I could take the military to the states where I lost and make them do it again until I win. That's called a coup. That's a coup. That's called a coup. You traitor.
Not unprecedented. I mean, these people out there talking about martial law, it's like it's something that we've never done. Martial law has been instituted 64 64 times. Greg.
He's calling
so
for
I'm
a coup to overthrow the government.
We have a constitutional process. We clearly have a
He's
constitutional process.
He's calling for a coup to overthrow the government.
You highlighted some of that in your previous segment. That has to be followed.
That guy's a traitor. He's a traitor. He's a traitor. People who follow him are traitors. So General Flynn was in the Oval Office meeting as well. And the president asked about Flynn's idea about deploying the military. So he's not just talking. He is seriously talking about staging a coup in the United States to overthrow an election that he lost. I mean, they're not joking. These guys are traitors. They're traitors. You know, there's no such thing as reconciliation and healing without consequences. The military, the heads of the military, had to come in and say, no, we are not going along with the coup. No, you can't make us. No, we are not going to go on and do this. Stop it. They had to do it. They had to do it. So that brings us back to Ron Johnson. Ron Johnson, the guy who went to Russia. He blocked the check from going out. Our second check. I mean, it's measly. It's $1,200. It's nothing, but it's better than nothing, right? But for him, a billionaire, it's too much. Like, so there's Senator Ron Johnson in Russia on the 4th of July. Here's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. This guy is saying a millionaire who just gave a tax cut to the billionaires that cost the same as it would cost to help out Americans. And he says, oh, it's too much to help out regular Americans. Billionaires, okay. Regular Americans, no, too much. The guy in Russia, that's what he said. That's what he said. Oh, that's okay. So let's get a look at this, right? So the richest 400 people are in the top 1%, right? So the richest 400 people are going to be over here. He's saying that it's okay to spend 1.5 trillion to give these people a tax cut. It's okay. But to spend $1.5 trillion to give these people money, they won't do it. He can't do it. That's because Ron Johnson is a traitor. Republicans, all the Republicans are traitors. The Confederates, it's obvious by this point. It's obvious. It's obvious. Republicans are traitors. We're in the middle of a war. This is an information war. And Donald Trump is using Russian disinformation in order to stage a coup and seize power. I mean, we have fascist marches in the Capitol, like a lot in here in Salem. And there's videos of Nazis marching everywhere. Like it's insane. It's crazy. So but look at, right? This is like the day before the solstice. The solstice is the darkest night. It's the longest night, the longest darkness. And from that point forward, the day gets longer and longer, and the light starts to come back. It's also the moment when two planets almost become one planet, Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn is, like, in astrology, Saturn is associated with like badness, heavy badness. And Jupiter is sort of a magnifier. It's like a goodness, but it's and like a magnifier. So it's kind of weird that these two opposites would be like conjoining. And a few months ago, Pluto was hanging out right in between them, right in the middle of them. Pluto is associated with death. Death is associated with change. So I think we need to hang in there. We need to hang in there. Okay, before I end this off, it's been a long thing, but I'm gonna do a few more. This is a great picture. The Navajo finally got this coal power plant to be removed from their land. I mean, it's the worst form of power generation, coal. It takes the pollution and dumps it directly into the air. Well, whose air? Oh, the natives' air, the Navajo's air. That's who gets to get all the pollution. Like, how lame. So so good for them. They that's a triumph of and moving forward. Let's move forward past this coal, this dirty energy. So coming up, right? Like, check this out. Christmas is coming up, right? But think about it. Who was this man that they made a holiday for? What's this about? Let's talk about this. Jesus was a radical, non-violent, revolutionary who hung around with lepers, hookers, and crooks. Wasn't American, never spoke English, anti-wealth, anti-death penalty, anti-public prayer, but he was never anti-gay. He never mentioned abortion or birth control. He never called the poor lazy. He never justified torture. He never fought for tax cuts for the wealthiest Nazarenes. He never asked a leper for a copay. And he was a long-haired, brown-skinned, homeless, community organizing, anti-slut-shaming Middle Eastern Jew. Wow, all right. You know what else? I have a friend, his name is Nick Ramirez. He's a great musician. He recently came out with a new album, his vinyl record, and it's awesome. It's awesome to hear all the songs remastered and hear them again. I love it. And he introduced me to such great music. And one great group he introduced me to was called King Missile. And for copyright reasons, I can't play the whole thing, but I'm gonna show you what their song was. I'm gonna read their song to you. Jesus was way cool. Everybody liked Jesus. Everybody wanted to hang out with him. Anything he wanted to do, he did. He turned water into wine, and if he wanted to, he could have turned wheat into marijuana, or sugar into cocaine, or vitamin pills into amphetamines. He walked on the water and swam on the land. He would tell these stories, and people would listen. He was really cool. If you were blind or lame, you just went to Jesus, and he would put his hands on you, and you would be healed. That's so cool. He could have played guitar better than Hendrix. He could have told the future. He could have baked the most delicious cake in the world. He could have scored more goals than Wayne Gretzky. He could have danced better than Baryshnikov. Jesus could have been funnier than any comedian you could think of. Jesus was way cool. He told people to eat his body and drink his blood. That's so cool. Jesus was so cool. But then some people got jealous of how cool he was, so they killed him. But then he rose from the dead. He rose from the dead, danced around, then went up to heaven. I mean, that's so cool. Jesus was way cool. No wonder there are so many Christians. What a great song. A poem, whatever. What's that story in Revelations? About the virgin, about the woman about to give birth, and a dragon waiting there to eat the baby as soon as it's born. And I thought at first that was Ukraine, but now I'm thinking it's it's the United States, because the United States is shedding its past of white supremacy and fascism, and moving it into an era of multiculturalism, where we will address the sins of our past, which will allow us to heal and move forward into the future as a multicultural, multiracial nation. I believe that's what's going to happen, and that we're just struggling to get there because the forces of the old world are aligned against us, and they're trying to make it happen. But you have to hold on sight to the truth. And it's not what feels true or what you think is true, but what is actually true. So, all right, America, I hope you have a very happy holidays, and I will see you next time. Until then, peace. Pogokero out. Happy holidays. Done.